Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. Hope you're doing well today. Happy Monday, if it matters to you, if you're watching on Monday, but certainly happy day in general. And here we have the Seven of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. This is where I stopped shuffling. So, the Seven of Pentacles is about long term vision. It's about perseverance, putting in long hours of work or intention or attention, investment into a thing, and having the patience to see it come to fruition ultimately. Well, with the Seven of Pentacles, I often say that it can be a bit dual in nature. It definitely does signify all of those things, like investing more or less in the highest vibration, positive investments, and having sown a lot of attention or time or energy or even material into a desirable outcome, or for the purposes of a desirable outcome. It also can imply that there's a bit of an exhaustion in that work, and that toil and labor, in a sense, where there's been so much perseverance and focus on trying to bring a thing to life or cultivate a crop that, in the present moment, per se, perhaps now, as we're speaking now, there's just a little bit of an exhaustion with what has grown so far, feeling perhaps a bit of an imbalance between all the work that has gone into the cultivation versus the reward that one has reaped at this present moment. But what I like to say is, with the Seven of Pentacles, even though sometimes I can read it up or down, it just depends on what energies come along with it. It definitely does, in the highest vibration, encourage us to continue to be patient, and continue to keep keep a promising prospect of the work that you've invested thus far, and continue to see, the outlook of possibilities in the future as a favorable one, knowing that the energy that you've invested most certainly will make a return, most likely even a greater return than what was invested, and certainly perhaps more than what is expected even now. And to allow yourself to stay encouraged, and patient, ultimately, is definitely the operative word here now, where you can rely on your due diligence to ultimately bring the return that is justified, in a sense. And with how the universe works, probably more so. Then it's just sometimes the patience of waiting for a crop to grow, when you're finding yourself continuously working and sowing, can sometimes be a bit exhausting, and even sometimes a little bit discouraging. Can almost make you not want to invest anymore, want to stop or slow down or give up in some way, shape, or form. So I just feel guided to say that now is definitely not the time to be giving up. It's the time to celebrate your progress up until this point. Take a moment of gratitude, especially with the transits that are in alignment now. Mercury retrograde is actually in the sign of Virgo. And this card, I'm not sure if it actually is a Virgo energy, but it definitely gives me Virgo vibes, especially when we're talking about perseverance and long, hard work, and attention to detail and focus and things like that. That's everything that Virgo energy is definitely attributed to. And Mercury is going into retrograde in that sign. It's already in pre-shadow phase, and I realized when I was reading about it that Sagittarius and a few other signs are definitely feeling the brunt of it the most, which kind of explains the experience that I've been having in real time with some of the typical aspects of the planet being in retrograde, but particularly it being so in the sign of Virgo. The retrograde officially starts on the 23rd, which is actually the first day of Virgo season, ironically. So all of that energy hitting us all at once. And if you're not particularly aligned with Virgo energy, which I don't have a lot of it in my chart per se, it's kind of like opposition to me in the sense where I'm more of a big picture type of gal, and create beauty out of everything, and kind of ethereal and mystical in essence, and fantastical and force in a sense. And Virgo is kind of very straight-laced, attentive to details, very focused. They're the masterful signs of the zodiac, where they don't mind focusing in on the details. They thrive in the details, and they thrive in hard work and dedication and practice and mastering a thing until they can, working at a thing until they can become the master. So they don't mind sowing into a crop and watching it grow and continuing to till the soil and water the field and extract the weeds and, all those things that somebody that might be a little bit fiery like myself, or a bit airy like I also am in my moon and my rising, just might want to, pull the crops and go. You know what I mean? We don't really want to wait. We want instant gratification in a sense, in some parts of me. So if you can relate to that at all, then you may perhaps be feeling that adverse stress that this card can project, to just feel like you're tired of working. Now you're ready to play, or you're ready for the reward. You're ready for the reaping of the sowing that you've already toiled to do. So just hang in there, celebrate your wins, celebrate the progress that you've made. For someone like that may be able to relate to my energy in particular, celebrate the fact that you have been able to stay so focused and dedicated and persistent, that may be a little bit different from your norm, or your may be different from your choice, your choice in nature, that you've actually been able to do so. And that in itself is a celebration that, if not for a material harvest, you've definitely grown in spirit and in nature, and energetically so, with being able to evolve in a way that would put you in a position to sow and be patient for the harvest to grow, if that makes sense. Okay, so let's see what else we got to that point. Didn't mean to go on and on there, but I'm finding that bottom card is speaking to me much more lately than it typically has been. Let's see what else. All right, we got two. Oh, interesting. Now, should I put her first? I don't know if it matters. I feel like it should be more like that, but I'm gonna do it like this here. If I feel guided, I may switch that. Because what's the Queen of Wands open to? So we got the Two of Swords. I'm sorry, not the Queen of Wands, the Queen of Swords. We have the Two of Swords and the Queen of Swords. So the Two of Swords is like someone that is blocked, usually. Oh, okay, I see. So this is definitely about psychological protection, whereas, okay, got it. So sometimes what I see, yeah, okay, so kind of connected to the seven of Pentacles, what I'm hearing is that sometimes, and here is the card that kind of gives me that energy too, with this Three of Pentacles, that there could be forces that are looking to project a certain vibration energetically to, that's why it's really careful what vibration we're allowing ourselves to persist in. I guess that's why I was going in a bit about the Seven of Pentacles in the highest form of just being patient and celebrating progress, continuing to cultivate that spirit of perseverance and mastery, and just really sticking with whatever it is that you are working on and focusing on. Because the other thing about the Seven of Pentacles, it implies that there's already been a harvest. It may not necessarily be the most plentiful one that one may have expected it to be or anticipated based on the work, but it implies that there's definitely a material harvest at hand. And it is also a promising projection of what's possible with that continued dedication to work. So you may have only harvested a pentacle out of the 7, or the 7 out of the 10, whatever your expectation was. But with that continuance of dedication, you could be well on your way to something much more expansive and abundant than that. But if you allow yourself to be thrown off that path, distracted from your devotion to whatever you're working on, you could almost like what am I trying to say? Not play yourself short, not that hood of it, but like shortchange yourself. You could like shortchange yourself thinking like, oh, this all I got, and then your mind starts to defeat you out of it, and then before you know it, your energy, you're not keeping that same energy from whence that harvest itself at this point has come from. It's like, man, the hell with this. I did all that work and all I got was 1 pentacle, or all I got was 7 pentacles. Like, I'm good, you know what I mean? And then you start to veer off into another path. That's a lower vibrational projection. That's an illusion that's being projected. It's being it can be agreed upon. You know what? I just realized I forgot to turn my light on. Let me turn it on. I know this is going to be a great difference in the vibration of the video, but that's okay because I feel like it needs to be on. My bad, y'all. But, it might be a great... It could cause like a disturbance in your prosperity ultimately, in that spirit of productivity, as I said, where, there's this illusionary projection that, all that work you did and this is all you got. You're not doing enough, or you're not enough, or you wasted your time, or you should have had a V8, pretty much, like your energy should have been focused over here, or you would have done better if you did this. That's all illusionary projection, usually from external interferences that we allow to make agreement with us on the inside, which is why it's most important for us to almost be in this 2 of Swords position, which right now to me is like a block against psychological interference. That's what it's given me, because the disparity here with the Queen of Swords is someone who is very upright in the truth. And that's why I'm glad that I'm put it this way, because if it were this way, it's almost as if she's receiving that blockage, like she's open to it, or even, like that's her focus. But with it coming out this way, as I felt guided to leave it, it's like that vibration is behind her. It's not her focus. Her focus is on the truth and on the future. Anything that, and in the same regard, where there may be, here's that external interference here that would keep you from the higher vibration of knowledge. This is also like higher learning, from reaching that elevated mental perspective, or maintaining it anyway. That focus, as I said, on what's fortifying, what's projected for the future in the most prosperous way. This energy here can be either or as well, where you can have people working in favor with you, helping you along and supporting that energetic force, and you can have those working in dark spaces that may be watching what you're doing, watching your harvest more than you are, taking notes or taking observation of how you're progressing, what you've acquired thus far, and how they can potentially block it or stop it, or confuse you with this sword energy, which is mental energy, psychological energy, impose some type of ideal or projection about your progress, as basically for the purposes of keeping you from continuing on. That's that energy, as I said, to come and tell you that you only got 1 pentacle. That's all you got. But this is saying to me that in the highest vibration, which the Queen of Swords certainly is, she's no nonsense, she's honorable, she's very cerebral and logical, she's open to ideas, but she's also very clear and certain about her truth and what feels right to her. You know, she can often even be a little bit detached emotionally in a sense, but in the highest vibration for the purposes of making wise decisions, you know, making objective decisions is what I really mean to say. Because you can be emotional and make wise decisions. So please let me not disrespect anybody, any particular vibration here. But in the Queen of Swords energy, she carries the sword of truth. She also wields the sword of truth. So anybody that comes trying to present to her something that she's already knowing to be false or to be out of alignment with, you know, who her authentic self, she's going to dismiss it. You know, she's not even going to allow it to penetrate her mind field ultimately, you know, in the sword energy. She's open to hear, she's open to receive with that one hand extended, but she's definitely not too emotionally attached to not be able to dismiss what does not serve her or her court. And this Two of Swords, as sometimes I like to say, I almost read it as like a samurai warrior. Don't ask me why she got to be a samurai, but you know, like with two swords, and you know, in one of those types of flicks where you could see like a blindfolded warrior. As a matter of fact, there's like a blind Asian dude in John Wick. I just recently saw the John Wick series, and I very recently saw 4, and he was like killing the game going after John Wick, and he was blind, so it was kind of crazy to watch him work. But that's the energy. Before I saw that, I actually have seen this card that way, like almost like this ninja of sorts, that, you know, she looks like a sitting duck. She looks like she's an easy target, but she got 2 swords in her hand. So if she gets to swinging, somebody's going to get hit one way or another. You know what I mean? She's going to connect to something. So, you know, and this is, you know, in the most practical sense of tarot, that's my tarot, since that is more of my fantastical expression. It's definitely being at a crossroads of making some type of decision as well. But I'm still seeing this as like a past vibration, because the progression is to the Queen of Swords, who was very objective, who was very certain, who was very diligent in decision making and determinations of truth and things. Like, she's a truth teller and almost like a human lie detector in a sense. Like, if you come to her with some BS, it's just not gonna fly. So it works the same from an internal perspective too, you know, ultimately, where anything that is even trying to attach to some uncertainties that may be still lingering in the surfaces of yourself will ultimately be cut. You know, the cord will be cut by your most logical projection of what is true, what is real, you know, not sensationalized by how you feel or, you know, how others are even trying to make you feel, you know, because the fact of the matter returns to that in that 7 of Pentacles, there is a material harvest to be accounted for. It's not sensationalized, or, you know, it's not an illusion. It's not, I should say, idealized. That 7 of Pentacles is material. So even in the ways that you may have a projection of something else, there's still something measurable to account for and to really reflect upon. There's some progression that has occurred in response to your energetic investment that can be accounted for at this very moment. You know, that, you know, the illusion, the conflict of illusion is what others may want to project to you is the matter of importance for that measure, you know, but it's up to you to take honest inventory for yourself and to decide, you know, to discern and decide what truly is of value to you. You know, maybe having 10 Pentacles is not the measure of your success at this moment. Maybe those 7, or even that 1, that sometimes I just see it's only 1 that has pulled out from that bush or, you know, that tree or whatever that is. It's only 1 that he's actually pulled from that bush. Maybe the 1 is a huge victory in the grand scheme of all that you've had to do to cultivate it at this point. Whereas to others, one might look like a failure. So it's up to you to really take true inventory, honest inventory of what you've harvested based on what you've invested. Has it been worth it? This is the other thing in the Seven of Pentacles. Has it been worth the energy that you've invested? Because that's also an honest inventory. Although, yes, the high vibration is celebration for your progress and continued perseverance, but what you've been given so much time and attention to is all that measurable harvest is always also speaking to you some reality of what is of value in real time. Like, is it worth all you've put in? Has it energetically been gratifying and satisfying for you to work towards that thing for this outcome? Really, enough for you to continue to do so. And in that regard is when you really do kind of have to reach into your spiritual nature and kind of synergize the two and decide, is this something I want to continue to invest in? And the highest vibration, and that's why it's important to get past the illusions about the projections and illusions about that harvest, because as I said, it could be one pentacle that still in itself is evidence that all of your energy has been worth it and you should keep going. Or it could be one pentacle, you're so exhausted, overworked, and depleted emotionally, psychologically, energetically, that you may actually decide in this retrograde energy that it's not worth it and you need to now divert that attention and time and energy into something else that might be more spiritually and physically and materially gratifying and satisfying. So it kind of works both ways. And as I said, the Queen of Swords is open to suggestions, and open to other ideas, but ultimately you're the decision maker that gets to make that final call for your life as to what is worth it, and these retrogrades are exactly what brings that vibration along for us, because without that, we'll just keep going and going and going for the sake of feeling busy and feeling productive, not really taking an inventory. Some of us don't have that natural Virgo energy in our being to really take a full inventory over our lives and really pick and choose on what things are most productive. So this energy of retrograde is helping us to do that by allowing us to reevaluate the energetic investments that we're making in real time. Okay, so let's see what else we got. My incense is getting low and I'm just chit-chatting away. But it's something special about this. I don't know why, but it's not so much about the cards as it is really conveying this idea. Oh, wow, and here's the Sun card. Beautiful. Because there's something really special on the horizon. I hear already amongst us, already at our fingertips, and like the harvest is already so. Even with this, we got the Six of Cups here, which is this is definitely like past experiences, past life energetic force, perhaps unions or some familiar relational experience or relationships in general. But we have the Sun card here, which is the most productive, happiest, powerful card in the deck. Ultimately, this is the promise, amidst this kind of grayish bluish area where there perhaps may be a little bit of uncertainty, still a question mark about what exactly it is that you're producing, because for many of us, we've been working with an idea or ideal end result in mind. But as I said, it's really kind of been hard to tell if what we're doing is even yielding the result that we have expectation for, if it's worth it or not. So I feel like this card here, being the vibration that it is definitely confirmation that it is one way or another. Even if it's just in, as I'm hearing it right now, like even if it's just in strengthening your discernment and your decision making the power of your decision making in the Queen of Swords, like someone that knows very clearly and distinctly what she should be invested in and what she shouldn't be, what she should be connected to, what thoughts and ideas are of value, are productive, are prosperous, even from within herself. You know, she knows how to kind of go through her own being and say, nah, this isn't working for us. We're going to release that. Or this is not a, she could take inventory of her own thoughts and perceptions and say, this is not really working for us. This isn't pushing us forward. Is it really helping me to look at my crops as, barely enough, or is there a better way for me to perceive what I have to offer right now, what I've manifested even more? Even that is a very prestigious cultivation of self, to put yourself in a position to be a strong decision maker, to be strong in your discerning from within, and also with one to another with external forces that are ultimately always coming our way. Case in point, as I'm speaking about retrograde energy and this being a past experience, this is also very important in the harvest that's ultimately being created. And not that I haven't said it many times, but I know it's because of the retrograde energy that we're in, with Mercury coming up and also still with Venus retrograding in Leo, that we're still Leo energy here with the sun, that we're still in this vibration of being discerning about our relationships in life, and a lot of them are resurfacing with this double impacted energy, because I can't quite remember when Venus goes. I think Venus goes direct again at the top of September sometime. For some reason, I'm hearing September 4th, but I'm not 100% sure. Either way, we're still very much so in that energy now, and in the pre-shadow of Mercury as well. So with those two collectively making an impact on us and encouraging us to go within, we are really observing and evaluating the relationships in our lives that are working for us and the ones that are not, the ones that may even be presenting themselves as new opportunities. With the Queen of Swords, something new presenting itself to be of value, to be productive, to be prosperous, in alignment with your energy. It's important that now more than ever before to be discerning on whether or not it is so. Whatever that person, place, or thing is, it doesn't have to be limited to a person. It can be a thing, just as I said, as a thought, and it can be a place, as in, some space that you would put you put yourself in, or some space that is looking for you to inhabit it, one or the other. It could be anything where your energy is going to be impacted or affected, or has the potential to be an impact, an effect, or an inspiration. Now more than ever before, it's really important to take strong thought, be very mindful of your investments. Back to that Seven of Pentacles card, it's not just about money investments, not even just about time. It's very much so, I think, more energy for us all now, energy and attention than anything else, definitely more than material. The idea is that the material harvest is what comes on the back end of the investment in the first place. So if you're still putting time and energy into, relationships that haven't proven themselves to serve you well at this point, or revisiting past relationships or connections or places or things, ideas, opportunities that haven't proven to be of value and productive up until this point, it could ultimately then lead to that setback and prosperity and the progression of that productivity that we're looking for. So this is kind of like that halfway point. This is the idea, the promise, what's on the horizon. But if you are you're looking over your crop in that Seven of Pentacles card, and you pull one, it's an opportunity to stay connected. It's showing you what's been yielded. So, in the way of relationships, which are most prevalent now at this time, given the circumstances in real time, but of course also as an effect from the universal alignments that are active at this very moment. If you're looking over relationships, this could be platonically or intimately, and you don't see truly the value in those connections, like the material value, the harvest of these unions, these connections, these contracts, these commitments. If it hasn't shown you how, it hasn't projected the best to you or supported the best of you, literally inspired the best out of you, then what is there to return to? What is there to continue to invest in? Honestly, that's when the Queen of Swords kicks in, and she's like, you know what? I know we've been together 6 years, but this just isn't working for me anymore. Or I know that we've had a friendship for a decade or more or whatever, you know what I mean? But you know what? I think that this is just a time when we may have grown apart, or there's just some things I need to do on my own, in my own regard. I need to really focus in on me. You know what? I've been working this job for 16 years, and it's definitely helped take care of my family and sustain my livelihood, but I hate it here. I think I'm going to have to go do something else, try my luck, my gifts, my talents elsewhere. These are the moments, these confrontational moments. The Queen of Swords can be very she's not afraid of confrontation because she's standing on her own logic and her own assessment of truth. So she's literally fearless. She's not blinded or bound in her determinations of truth, because she stands honorably, in what she believes. It's not jaded by anything but reality for her, so she can take inventory over cold hard facts, just like that Virgo energy, and observe it, past, present, or potential future possibilities, and really make an assessment as to what value this is bringing me. If the gold is sunshine, sun, gumdrops and lollipops in the most sensational way, and the things that are attached to you are not in alignment with that vision, then that's the opportunity for detachment, release, change in direction, a shift in mindset, whatever it is that's going to realign your vibration for the ultimate goal is what that Seven of Pentacles of observation of progress at this point is for. It's for you not to look over your life and say, damn, I wasted all my time on this relationship, and I could have been doing this, or I've been here for 16 years, I could have pursued my singing career, or I've been living here for all this time, why I should have been moved. It's not to look at your circumstances in the vibration of regret or remorse or resistance to what has been thus far. You take inventory and gratitude. You are thankful for the position that you're in, for what your efforts, your time, your attention, your energetic investments has gained you in this moment. And you take that pentacle and now you say, okay, this is what I have that is of true value. How can I invest this for the long run, for my long vision, that long-term success, so that I either don't recreate the undesirable, and or recreate the absolute desirable outcome that I've projected for my future at this point, So again, a lot of relationships are coming into play. Don't be afraid to make tough decisions for your future. You don't have anyone to answer for or answer to regarding you and your happiness. That is what's paramount. And yeah, I saw you, Devil card. Oh, okay, I see you. We see you. Oh boy. All right, let's just get a few more and I'm out of here because I've been talking a lot. Star card on the top. Yeah. Okay, so we got the I may do one more row since we only got two coming out. We got the Four of Cups, which is about rejection or missed opportunities. Some type that it's kind of what I was saying, you know, like in the Judgment card, which is ultimately about it can be about second chances, but it's definitely about a final decision on something. So with the Four of Cups, it's like he's rejecting and looking back, rejecting his present and looking back at the past. So where is the future, you know, set to be created in that vibration? It's just going to be a continuous cycle of undesirability, ultimately. You're not willing to accept what's presently being offered to you, but you're still holding some resentment or disdain for what you've already experienced, or even maybe perhaps opportunities that you've missed from. This is about perspective, without just pretty much reiterating what I just said, that if you're going to look back at your past experiences with any disdain, when the universe is obviously offering you an opportunity to be nurtured and nourished and satisfied in a way that is spiritually sensational, as opposed to these cups that are on the ground with God knows what in them, you know, then you're going to miss an opportunity for perhaps to move forward, to be to answer to a higher calling of an experience of life and life force, which is also implied in the Judgment card, or to even have a second chance, or not just another chance and opportunity for fulfillment in some other way. You know, that life is not over because of the inventory that you may take now that seems unfavorable. It's just beginning, you know, like you can actually even have new life altogether on account of a positive perspective of your presence, seeing yourself as the star, you know, literally seeing yourself. This is that answering to your higher calling, to your North Star, your North Node. You know, if you don't know the aspects of your natal chart, I really strongly suggest and encourage that you just look into it and see. You know, there are multiple different apps and sites that you can put in your birthday and information, the time and place of your date, and it'll pull up for you every sign, every house in your chart. Because it's not just about your sun sign. It's not even just about your moon and your rising. There's so many aspects of us, which is what makes us so unique, you know, that give a clear expression of who you are and who you've been called to be, perhaps even destined to be in this lifetime, you know. And whether you take stock in it or not is your business, is definitely your concern, but it's definitely worth a look-see, you know, to just look into it. Virgo energy, look into the details of your own self. Don't stay on the surface. Don't, you know, just brush the baseline of your identity. There's so much more to you than just your name, you know, and where you come from or who your parents are. Your identity is so unique that it's unlike anyone else on this earth. And it's one thing to say that, it's another thing to know it, you know. So you could ultimately see what it is that your North Node, your midhaven, is calling you to. Mine, for instance, is Cancer, which is different from any other aspect in my chart. I don't have a lot of Cancer energy in my chart, and yet that's what I'm being called to in this life, to those aspects of life force and vibration. And not knowing, I was kind of already moving in that regard, but now knowing, you know, having discovered it, I'm even more intentional about the things that I do invest in and in the ways that I don't. Because for me, the opposite of that is Capricorn energy, which is much more masculine and more structured and synergized by established work and accomplishments and making money. And yeah, all those things are good too, but if that was my centric focus, I would be off balance with the calling that the universe has on my life, which is to be more emotionally and psychically in tune, to myself as a woman, as a life giver and a mother even. Like, I'm much more engaged in the callings of being a holistically hands-on mom, even in the opposition of ways that would call me to be more corporate and more conventional and more traditional, especially by societal standards. So what it is that you're called to often doesn't really align with the projections and propagandas that you're most impacted by, which is why it's important. Like in this card here, for instance, maybe he's called to this love vibration, this love energy, being more spiritually in tune, and he's still looking at the Three of Cups, which is like, the Three of Cups by itself is like celebration, being a part of the crowd, being more societally acceptable. This is a single cup, a singular cup, one that is like a solo journey, just as the star is. It's something that, a light that you emit, that's signature to you, in the vibration of the sun, no less, which is amazing that we have both of them out here. It's like you being a ray of the sun, of the source, emitting an energy of a vibration of life force in the earth that's unmatched by anyone else, but that has the potential to inspire all. If you're still investing in, sowing into ideas of success that aren't even in alignment with who you are organically and innately spiritually called to be, no wonder you might still keep looking at that harvest with disdain and with dissatisfaction. You're sowing into the wrong ground, So now is the time for us to take all the intel, and now there's no excuse because everybody's learning something about themselves, whether you want to receive it or not. That's just the spirit of the time that we're in. That revelation, we are living in the time of revelation of yourself, of the truth of who you are. And if you can receive that in the Queen of Swords vibration, detach from it emotionally and energetically, from it having an adverse impact on you, just strictly dealing with the facts of what you see, the inventory that you take, the evidence of what you've manifested, and making a decision from that point. The ultimate is that the spirit can magnify that energy. It's literally like being resurrected or regenerated. Like I said, having new life in a sense that ultimately leads what? To that promise of happiness and fulfillment that deep down we're all aspiring to have, that we're all aspiring to be and do and experience in this life. We just have different ways of getting there. And based on the experience that we have in the earth, sometimes that way can be a little bit distorted, that back to that external interference, where we allow others to tell us what's good for us, what's best for us, what we should be doing, what we shouldn't be doing, when the answers are literally inside of you. And in an emotional and energetic sense, those cues that are telling you that you're unhappy, when you're looking at the inventory, or that's too many. When you're looking over your life and still feeling unfulfilled or unsatisfied with what you have, what you've acquired, and what you're on track to manifest, those are the signs and signals that are saying, oh my goodness, and we're done here. Those are the signs and signals that are saying, yes, you're on the right track, or no, you're not. Those are the things that are leading you to that North Node wow, I didn't even see that. They're leading you to your North Node in a real time, like in a physical sense. When you're not feeling good about where you're going to work every day, when you're not feeling safe and comfortable and secure and sound and peaceful in your relationships, when you don't feel welcomed in certain spaces and places, when you don't feel good or proud or safe doing certain things for whatever, objectified reason that's been created. These are the signs and signals that we get that we often ignore or block out altogether for the purposes of survival. Ultimately, that's usually, go figure, with the samurai warrior here, that will block out the things that make total sense to us on account, it don't make no more sense than when you hate going to a place every day, or you hate who you wake up to, or you're more dissatisfied with your friends and spouse or relationship than you are gratified by it. It don't get no more plain and simple than that, but we make those things mean other things or suppress that intel altogether for the purposes of sustaining some ideal of comfort, or conformity. The Queen of Swords is not afraid to cut the fat. She's not afraid to do it. Old, present, on the horizon, new. She has no problem detaching when it means her ultimate survival and peace of mind. Okay. So last but not least, once again, we got the 10 of Cups here, which is amazing. It's like doubling down on the Sun card, but the Sun card is giving me more prosperity, productivity, in the universal sense, something that we all have a right to. This 10 of Cups is like very particular and specific to your life. What brings you the ultimate wish fulfillment, the ultimate joy, the ultimate happiness, the ultimate peace, to literally feel satisfied in your life in every way, shape, and form. Like no questions asked. That's what the 10 of Cups is. And it implies that because you're in a position of ultimate satisfaction, that you're also withholding the power to sustain. There's that I think I said that with the 7 of Pentacles. It's about sustaining sustainable results. You're in a position to sustain this poise of happiness and peace and prosperity because you've surrendered to all these other, to this process of sorts where you've allowed yourself to cut the fat, even the fat in and of you, that's most important, because it doesn't have anything attached to if not for within you first. But you've accepted the cup of love from universal source, from the source that's looking to nourish you and revive you and regenerate you for a new calling, or perhaps the calling that always was, whether you fully connected to it or not. And then here you have, this is like angelic force present in the earth, perhaps even you as a result of this process being that angelic force of inspiration, not just to yourself but to others, literally being in a position to alchemize spiritual energy, to make balance continuously. This is like patience, balance. So it's like that earthly card of the 7 of Pentacles where I talked about perseverance and balance and patience. You sowing a very small seed to grow a harvest. You took inventory of it. It may or may not have yielded all that you expected it to be, but you hung in there. You are hanging in there. You're staying in there. You're sticking with it, or you're deciding that this isn't it. I'm gonna scrap this crop and I'm going to sow into something else. Wherever that divine discernment leads you, is as long as it's in spirit and in truth, it's authentic to who you are feeling most divine to be. And you're, like I said, is really doing the hard work, is making those tough decisions. That's the hardest work of all, to have the discernment and objectivity to say something is working for you and something is not. Once you get the hang of that, it's just all par for the course at that point. Then you'll be in a position to be in prosperity because you're in a prosperous state of mind. If the spirit takes you in a direction that wasn't necessarily intended upon, or you actually take observation to see that maybe you went away that wasn't necessarily in alignment with where you were going, or that it's just time to make to take a new route. Perhaps what you have incurred or the distance you have traveled was exactly what was needed, and now it's time for a new destination. Sometimes that's even harder than anything, to make a sudden turn or shift or move and go in a completely opposite direction based on how the spirit is calling you and leading you to do so. But it's like a double down here, because in the spirit and in the truth of your life, ultimately what it affords you is that ultimate fulfillment of life. That everything that you invested in from that 7 of Pentacles, everything you worked for, everything you envisioned for yourself, everything that you aligned yourself to manifest, to have, to attract, the connections that you have committed to, it all makes sense down here in this Ten of Pentacles. It all comes together as one and flushes out to be exactly what your spirit wants, because sometimes mentally in that Seven of Pentacles, we have an ideal of what we think we should have. We have an ideal of what should be, especially in reflection to what we've invested or how much time we put in or how much, what I mean? Like, we have our own ideals about that. But when you're surrendered to the spirit and the truth of it all comes out in the wash to be exactly not only what you needed, but even what you wanted at a pure spiritual level. And this Temperance card here is saying that you can alchemize those results over and over again. That this Ten of Pentacles is eternal and forever because you've now cultivated this energetic force to take whatever it is that the spirit gives you and make something magical of it. Literally, it's like spirit becoming matter. You take the energy of spirit, those visions, those ideals, those projections, the possibilities of all, and you can create it in a way that is nurturing and nourishing for yourself, and that also becomes a tangible force, material force, sensationalized by our very being, in an earthly energetic experience. It's not just something idealized in the spirit. This isn't a projection of heaven in life after death. This is a projection of heaven in earth, literally bringing the fullest experience of life to life for you, and it's specific to what the parameters that you have co-created with the Almighty Source for it to be. You have created the blueprint per se, between you and spirit, and you've put your hand to the plow with that Seven of Pentacles card. You've put your mind to the test. You put your spirit at rest and allowed, there to be a universal flow with what gets to be, for the universal good of all, you and whomever you're connected to or creating with and for. And so it is here in this Ten of Pentacles, and so it always shall be with the Temperance card. It's eternal. And then not only that, it has the support of angelic realms, of source, literally, of angelic force in heaven as it does in earth as it does in heaven, pardon me, or whichever way you want to see it. But because it's already been called into judgment to be, it's eternally protected as well. Like, there's nothing that can obstruct it in the earthly form. So let's just see what's on the top. Nothing that can obstruct it in the earthly form with this Page of Swords. What's this? I see, yep, nothing that can obstruct it. It's victorious already as it is. And no matter what challenge and charge you've incurred to acquire this stability, this union, this is like back to that partnership vibe. And here too, it's definitely here. Sometimes I forget to actually speak on that part of it, but the Ten of Cups definitely implies a prosperous union and partnership, and prosperous partnership in its most emotionally and spiritually fulfilling sense. This is energetically so, creatively so. This is having overcome some great feat or challenge to get to a place of success and victory, but having gotten there no less. This is definitely a projection of home life that's stable and secure and safe and sound, protected by the spiritual realm, protected because it's been guided. Each individual that has come together has been guided to a certain place of union and unity, so that sacred connection is shielded from any type of outside interference or influence that might want to come up against it. All that influence can do is ultimately just look and watch, hopefully be inspired by what it is that you project. But even in the lowest vibration, if it would even persist, similar to that Three of Pentacles, to plot or plan to be some destructive obstruction or demise, distraction even to what's already been fortified. It's still, it pretty much will play itself. It'll be in this Four of Cups missed opportunity position for how it ultimately has invested its attention in the wrong things. Back to that's the Seven of Pentacles in the adverse. Those that have not taken inventory wisely over their investments and what their crop has yielded them, what's been produced in real time, enough to really make the decision to say, you know what, this isn't working for me anymore. I need to do something different. I need to focus on me. I need to focus on the gifts and talents and things that I feel called to do, the things that make me happy, the things that bring me joy and fulfillment in life, so that I can have my own version of that in some way, shape, or form. Those that are still looking outside of themselves to be fulfilled, to be gratified, to be nurtured, to be, to even be entertained, in an imbalanced way, are ultimately just blinding themselves, and they are the ones that are going to be stuck and bound without the trust in their own energetic being to make wise decisions for a fortified future. That's a terrible place to be. Nobody wants to be there. We all are susceptible to be there. Just one wrong move or one distraction too many, and nobody is exempt from that possibility. But the idea here today is that if you know that you have such promise on the future, just by focusing on yourself and what truly just makes you happy, what makes you most creative, what fortifies your future in the most fantastical way, even in the most fantasized way possible. If you can start there with the Ten of Cups, that's the fantasy of life, fantastical experience. Yeah, maybe there might be room for an edit here or there by way of the spirit, but if you can at least start with a bright projection of your future, your possibilities, why would you even, if you really would start there, then honestly, you wouldn't even have time to look elsewhere. Those that have time to worry about what other people are doing and how they're doing it and when they're doing it and why they're doing it and where they're doing it, they are not focusing on the things that are fortifying for themselves. When you're completely engaged in self and what self wants to be, do, and have in this life experience, you really don't have any energy to spare for anything or anyone outside of that. You're focused, man. Tell Silk to holla at me, man. Really and truly. Silk as in the finer things in life. That's what the focus is on. The finest experience of life that one can create, okay? Stay focused, stay encouraged that you're already there. You've already cultivated the energetic force to create, to literally manifest and alchemize any spiritual possibility, any ideal experience of life that you can hold is a possibility to behold in real time, okay? So again, stay encouraged, stay focused, stay persistent, don't give up. Truly celebrate your progress and your wins, your produce that you've harvested so far. Really take inventory, honest inventory over what you've manifested at this point. Celebrate it, eat what's sweet, throw away what's sour, and, get ready to plant some more, because this is an eternal experience that we're cultivating together. That's just going to continue to expand as you continue to as well. All right. So with that being said, I will talk to you on the next one. Have a wonderful day. And until then, I'll leave you with peace.